Have you ever wondered why some women naturally command attention, while others seem to struggle to be noticed? Why do some relationships flourish with mutual respect, while others fade into frustration? Here's a truth few will tell you. Attraction isn't just about looks or clever words. It's about how you carry yourself, with quiet confidence and undeniable grace. Even in silence. In a world overflowing with noise, superficial connections, and fleeting validation, standing out doesn't mean chasing attention. It's about exuding value. Yet, many of us unknowingly fall into the same traps. We overshare, overgive, or worse, chase. Sound familiar? The good news is, you don't need to rely on these ineffective tactics anymore. What if there were a way to shift the dynamic? A way to make men see you, respect you, and cherish you not because you demand it, but because they choose to. The secret lies in mastering 10 powerful silent actions that whisper, "I know my worth." These aren't manipulative tricks. They're rooted in timeless wisdom and deeply connected to the transformative philosophy of Stoicism, even touching upon the principles of dark Stoic psychology. Each of these actions empowers you to embody value so effortlessly that being overlooked becomes impossible. Are you ready to unlock your inner magnetism and make him value you in a way that feels genuine, lasting, and true? Let's dive in with one of the most critical lessons, the art of never chasing. And trust me, once you master this, your entire perspective will transform. 1. Never chase, always attract. Let's start with a question. Why do we chase? Is it because we believe someone is irreplaceable? Or is it rooted in fear of losing them, of being alone, or of not being enough? Be honest. We've all been there. You meet someone who seems perfect, and when they start to pull away, panic sets in. You text a little too often, overcompensate with attention, or try to fix what feels broken. But here's the paradox. The more you chase, the faster they run. Now, imagine flipping the dynamic. Instead of chasing, you attract. How? By embodying calm, unshakable confidence that quietly says, "I'm worth pursuing." This is where Stoicism becomes your ally. It's a philosophy that teaches us to focus on what we can control and let go of what we cannot. You can't control someone else's feelings or actions, but you can control how you respond. Think of this as reclaiming your power. Picture this. You're seeing someone, and everything seems great until suddenly, their response is slow, their effort wanes, and the dynamic shifts. Most people would instinctively try harder, send another text, plan another date, or maybe even confront them. But what if you did the opposite? What if you stepped back instead of leaning in? This isn't about playing games. It's about communicating through your actions. My time and energy are valuable. If you're not investing, that's your choice, but I won't chase you. Why does this work? Humans are wired to value what feels scarce. When something is too easily available, we subconsciously devalue it. By stepping back, you create space for him to wonder about you, to miss you, and to reevaluate his own behavior. This taps into the principles of dark Stoic psychology, a combination of restraint, patience, and composure that quietly shifts the dynamic in your favor. But let's address the common fear. Won't stepping back make him lose interest completely? The answer is simple. Not if he's genuinely interested. Real feelings withstand space and time. If he doesn't step up, then ask yourself, why would I want to be with someone who doesn't recognize my worth? Stoicism reminds us that letting go of what doesn't serve us opens the door for something better. You might think, this sounds great, but how do I stop chasing? Start by shifting your focus back to yourself. Reinvest in your hobbies, passions, and friendships. When the urge to reach out strikes, pause and ask, what am I trying to achieve? Does this action align with my self-respect? This isn't about ignoring him or being cold. It's about redirecting your energy to become so magnetic and fulfilled that chasing anyone feels unnecessary. Attraction isn't about clinging to someone else. It's about becoming someone others are drawn to. When you embrace this mindset, you'll notice a profound change. Not only will he value you, but more importantly, you'll start valuing yourself. And that kind of self-worth? It's liberating. Let me leave you with this. What would your life look like if you stopped chasing entirely? Imagine trusting that what's meant for you will come naturally, without force. Picture the peace, confidence, and clarity this shift could bring. 2. Know your worth like a rare gem. Do you truly know your worth? I mean, really know it? Or have you allowed the world, or worse, someone else to define it for you? Many of us fall into the trap of measuring our value through external validation, likes on social media, attention from a partner, or society's ever-changing standards of beauty and success. But here's the truth. Your worth is not up for negotiation. It isn't something anyone else can grant or take away. Simply is. Imagine yourself as a rare gemstone. Not everyone will recognize your brilliance, and some may even walk by without a second glance. But does that make the gem any less valuable? Absolutely not. Its value remains unwavering and undeniable, regardless of whether others see it. You are that rare gem. The real question is, do you recognize it? Knowing your worth is one of the most magnetic traits you can possess. It's not about arrogance or bragging. It's about moving through life with quiet confidence and unshakable self-respect. When you truly value yourself, it transforms everything: how you interact with others, how you set boundaries, and how people perceive and treat you. They'll sense that you're not just anyone. You're someone who understands their value and demands respect, care, and effort. But how do you reach this deep sense of self-worth? It starts with self-reflection, a practice deeply rooted in Stoicism. Take a moment to identify what truly makes you unique, not just surface-level traits, but the deeper ones. Are you kind, empathetic, or determined? Do you possess fierce loyalty, a creative spark, or the ability to stay calm under pressure? These qualities are the building blocks of your value. When you focus on these traits rather than seeking external validation, you begin to see yourself through a lens of strength and individuality. Here's a simple exercise: the next time you feel undervalued, resist the urge to spiral into doubt. Instead, pause and ask yourself, what virtues and values do I bring to this situation? Perhaps you've shown patience in a challenging moment or offered kindness that positively impacted someone. Write these down. This isn't about boasting. It's about anchoring yourself in who you are, independent of anyone else's opinions. When you operate from a place of self-worth, something extraordinary happens. You stop tolerating poor treatment. This isn't driven by pride, but by respect for yourself. And here's the remarkable part. Others will notice this energy. They'll understand that you're not someone who begs for attention or approval. Instead, you seek relationships that align with your values, not your insecurities. Think about this. If you don't value yourself, how can you expect anyone else to? The way you see yourself sets the tone for how others see you. This isn't just a theory. It's a fundamental principle of human dynamics, deeply tied to Stoic philosophy. When you carry yourself with self-respect, you naturally elevate the standards of those around you. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once said, "You have power over your mind, not external events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Your worth lies entirely within your control. It's not shaped by external circumstances or others' opinions. It's defined by your actions and how you choose to show up in the world. So let me ask you again. What makes you unique? What qualities set you apart? Take a moment to reflect on these questions. When you truly recognize your value, you'll notice a profound shift. Your interactions will change. You'll stop chasing approval, overthinking, or worrying about how others perceive you. Instead, you'll exude a quiet, irresistible confidence that makes people naturally rise to meet your standards. Remember, this journey starts with you. Begin by appreciating the qualities that make you who you are. Let them serve as a reminder that your worth isn't dependent on fleeting attention or validation. It's rooted in something far deeper: your character, your virtues, and your unwavering belief in yourself. 3. Watch actions, not words. Have you ever been swept off your feet by someone's words, only to later realize their actions told a completely different story? It's a tale as old as time. A man says all the right things, makes promises that sound like music to your ears, and paints a picture of a future that seems almost too good to be true. Often, it is too good to be true because words, no matter how beautiful, mean nothing without actions to back them up. This is where Stoic wisdom comes into play. Focus on what people do, not just what they say. Actions reveal character, intent, and priorities far more than words ever will. This isn't about being cynical or distrustful. It's about being smart. Observing someone's actions protects your emotional well-being and aligns you with people who truly value you. Think about it. How many times have you been let down by someone who promised the world but couldn't even deliver the smallest gestures of care? Perhaps they said they'd call but didn't. Or maybe they made plans only to cancel at the last minute. The truth is, consistency in action shows commitment, while inconsistency reveals a lack of it. It's not about expecting perfection. No one is flawless, but it's about identifying patterns. Let's take an example. Imagine you're dating someone who often talks about how much they care about you. They say things like, "You're so important to me," or, "I'll always be there for you." Feels good to hear, doesn't it? But what happens when you actually need their support? Do they show up? Or do they find excuses? Do their actions align with their words? Or do they fall short? This is where dark Stoic psychology becomes invaluable. Instead of reacting emotionally to every word, you learn to step back and observe. You focus on behavior rather than promises. This doesn't mean confronting every inconsistency or blowing up over small slip-ups. It means quietly taking note and letting their actions guide your decisions. When you adopt this mindset, something remarkable happens. You begin to see people for who they truly are, not who they claim to be. This clarity can be both liberating and empowering because it removes the guesswork. You're no longer caught up in the whirlwind of words. Instead, you're grounded in reality. There's another layer to this principle. Your own actions matter, too. Just as you evaluate others by what they do, they're also observing you. Are you consistent? Do your actions align with your values? Are you showing up as the person you aspire to be? When your actions reflect self-respect, kindness, and integrity, you set a standard not just for yourself, but for the people you allow into your life. Here's a simple but powerful exercise. The next time you're uncertain about someone's intentions, resist the urge to ask for clarification. Instead, observe their behavior over time. Do they follow through on their commitments? Do they treat you with care and respect, even when it's inconvenient? Let their actions speak louder than their words ever could. This practice isn't just about holding others accountable. It's about protecting your heart. By prioritizing actions over words, you reduce the risk of getting swept up in false promises. You create space for relationships built on trust, reliability, and mutual respect. It's worth noting that this approach requires patience. People will reveal their true selves in time, but only if you give them the opportunity. Don't rush to conclusions or force things to happen. Trust that the truth will come to light, and allow yourself to respond with grace and wisdom when it does. At its core, this principle is about alignment. It ensures that what people do matches who they claim to be, and that this alignment feels right for you. When you live by this standard, you naturally attract people who value integrity just as you do. So ask yourself, are you paying attention to actions? Or are you getting lost in words? This isn't a question to judge yourself. It's an opportunity to shift your perspective. Because when you start focusing on what's real, you step into a place of strength. You stop hoping someone will change and start recognizing who they are right now. And from that place of clarity, you can make decisions that honor your worth and protect your peace. By watching actions instead of words, you take control of your emotional experience. You stop giving your power away to empty promises and start investing in relationships that feel as real as they are. This is where true respect and connection begin, and trust me, it's worth the wait. 4. Master nonverbal communication. What if I told you that some of the most powerful things you'll ever say don't involve words at all? Think about it. Have you ever walked into a room and felt instantly drawn to someone? Not because of what they said, but because of how they carried themselves. That's the power of nonverbal communication, an unspoken language that can captivate attention and leave a lasting impression. Now consider this. What messages are you sending without realizing it? Your posture, eye contact, gestures, even the pauses in your conversations. All of these silently communicate how you feel about yourself and the world around you. Mastering this art isn't about being stiff or overly calculated. It's about aligning your presence with your confidence and worth. Start with how you carry yourself. Picture two women walking into a room. One hurries in with a slouched posture, her gaze darting nervously around the space. The other walks with her shoulders back, her head held high, and a calm, composed demeanor. Which one do you notice first? Which one exudes quiet confidence? The second woman. Of course. Why? Because she's mastered the silent art of self-assurance. Your body language is a reflection of how you see yourself. If you carry yourself like someone who values their time, energy, and presence, others will naturally start to value you too. This is where Stoicism ties into nonverbal communication. It teaches us to cultivate inner calm and composure, which radiates outward in every interaction. One of the simplest ways to enhance your nonverbal presence is through eye contact. Strong, steady eye contact conveys interest, confidence, and self-assuredness. It says, I see you, and I'm not afraid to be seen. But here's the key. It's not about staring someone down. It's about creating a connection while remaining grounded in your own energy. Practice this in everyday situations, whether you're talking to a stranger or sharing a moment with someone you care about. Another underrated yet powerful tool is the pause. In a world of constant chatter, the ability to pause before responding, or to sit comfortably in silence, is magnetic. Why? Because it demonstrates control. You're not rushing to fill the space or seeking validation through words. You're comfortable with yourself, and that confidence is irresistible. Your appearance also plays a role in nonverbal communication, but not in the way you might think. This isn't about being flashy or dressing to impress others. It's about presenting yourself in a way that reflects your respect for yourself. Wear clothes that make you feel strong, beautiful, and authentic. Groom yourself in a way that aligns with how you want to be perceived, not for anyone else, but for you. This sends a powerful message. I care about myself, and I'm worth the effort. Here's another secret about nonverbal communication. It's not just about what you project. It's also about what you withhold. In relationships, there's often a rush to share everything: your time, your space, your deepest thoughts. But Stoicism teaches us the value of restraint. When you don't lay everything out at once, you create a sense of intrigue. Mystery isn't about being aloof or playing games. It's about showing that there's more to you than meets the eye. It invites others to earn your trust and access to your inner world. Think about how often we give away our energy without realizing it. Maybe you've caught yourself over-explaining, over-apologizing, or overcompensating in conversations. These habits stem from insecurity, but they can be replaced with something far more powerful: stillness. When you speak less but say more, when you hold your ground without overreacting, you create an aura of self-possession that's impossible to ignore. The beauty of nonverbal communication lies in its subtlety. It's not about grand gestures or dramatic displays. It's in the slight tilt of your head as you listen attentively. It's in the way you nod slowly, signaling that you're fully present. It's in the relaxed way you sit, showing that you're at ease with yourself and your surroundings. This silent power can transform your interactions with men. Instead of seeking validation through words, you let your presence speak for you. Instead of trying to prove your worth, you embody it. And here's the most important part. It's not about manipulating others. It's about aligning with your own confidence and authenticity. So ask yourself, what is my body language saying about me right now? Is it communicating self-respect? Or is it betraying self-doubt? Is it inviting connection? Or is it putting up walls? These questions aren't meant to make you overthink every movement. They're an invitation to become more intentional about how you show up. When you master nonverbal communication, you step into a space of quiet, undeniable magnetism. It's not about trying to be seen. It's about becoming someone who naturally draws attention simply by being. And trust me, when a man encounters this kind of presence, he'll not only value you, he'll be inspired to rise to meet your energy. 5. Set boundaries without words. Let me ask you, when someone crosses a line with you, Do you feel the need to explain yourself, justify your feelings, or argue your case? Most of us have been there, overthinking, overtalking, and over-explaining in an attempt to make others respect our boundaries. But here's the truth. Boundaries aren't about what you say, they're about what you do. Actions, not words, are the real enforcers of respect. Think of boundaries like invisible lines that protect your time, energy, and emotions. They don't require big speeches or dramatic ultimatums. In fact, the strongest boundaries are often the quietest. Why? Because they're reflected in how you carry yourself, the choices you make, and the things you allow or don't allow in your life. Here's a powerful mindset shift. You don't have to announce your boundaries to make them real. You just have to live them. For instance, if someone constantly cancels plans at the last minute, you don't need to lecture them about respecting your time. Instead, you quietly stop making plans with them. If someone disrespects you with their words or actions, you don't need to demand an apology. You simply take a step back and reduce their access to you. Over time, people learn exactly where your lines are, not because you've told them, but because you've shown them. This silent strength is rooted in Stoicism. The Stoics believed in controlling their own actions and emotions, rather than trying to control others. You can't force someone to respect your boundaries, but you can enforce them by holding yourself to the standard you expect from others. When someone sees that you won't bend, beg, or tolerate disrespect, they have two choices: rise to meet your standards or fall away. Either way, you've protected your peace. Let's take a real-world example. Imagine you're dating someone who makes sarcastic or dismissive comments about your feelings. You don't need to engage in a long emotional conversation about how much it bothers you. Instead, the next time it happens, you respond with calm detachment. You don't laugh, you don't engage, and you don't explain. If they're paying attention, they'll notice your shift in energy. If they don't, you quietly start pulling back. Your silence speaks volumes. I won't accept being treated this way. It's important to note that setting boundaries without words doesn't mean ignoring problems or bottling up emotions. It's about letting your actions do the talking. When you calmly walk away from disrespect or choose not to engage in drama, you send a clear message. I value myself too much to stay in situations that don't align with my worth. This is where dark Stoic psychology becomes a game changer. It's not about manipulation. It's about embodying quiet confidence that naturally commands respect. And here's the most beautiful part. Boundaries are a form of self-love. When you enforce them, you're not just teaching others how to treat you. You're showing yourself that you're worthy of respect and care. This internal validation is far more powerful than any external approval you could ever seek. Now let's address a common fear. What if setting boundaries pushes people away? Here's the hard truth. If someone leaves because you've enforced a boundary, they were never truly invested in you or your well-being. And while it might sting in the moment, losing someone who doesn't respect you is never truly a loss. It's an opportunity to create space for people who will. Think about it. The people who genuinely care about you will appreciate your boundaries because they'll understand that they're rooted in self-respect. They'll see your boundaries not as walls but as guidelines for how to build a stronger, healthier connection with you. And the ones who don't, they'll reveal themselves quickly, saving you time and heartache in the long run. Here's a challenge for you. The next time someone crosses a line, resist the urge to explain or defend yourself. Instead, pause and consider how you can respond with quiet, deliberate action. Maybe it's choosing not to answer a disrespectful message, or perhaps it's saying no to a request that doesn't align with your priorities. These small, intentional choices add up, creating a ripple effect that transforms how others perceive and treat you. Let me leave you with this thought. Boundaries aren't about keeping people out, they're about protecting what's within. When you set and enforce boundaries without needing to shout them from the rooftops, you create an environment where only the right people can thrive. And that, my friends, is how you build relationships based on mutual respect and authenticity. 6. Embrace change with grace. Change. It's a word that often stirs discomfort and fear, doesn't it? Especially when it comes to relationships. Maybe you've experienced it, the subtle shifts, the evolving dynamics. The moments when everything feels uncertain. It's tempting to resist, to cling to what's familiar, to fight for things to stay the way they were. But what if I told you that change isn't your enemy? In fact, it might just be your greatest ally. Let's start with a truth rooted in Stoicism. The only constant in life is change. This philosophy teaches us to stop fighting against the inevitable and instead embrace it with openness and resilience. Whether it's the end of a relationship, a shift in priorities, or the growing pains of love deepening into something more profound, change is a natural part of every connection, and the way you handle it says everything about your strength and self-worth. Imagine a relationship where things have started to shift. Maybe he's becoming distant, or perhaps circumstances are pulling you in different directions. Your first instinct might be to panic, to try to control the situation, or to demand answers. But here's the thing. The more you resist change, the more you create friction, and that friction often pushes people further away. Now picture this: instead of resisting, you accept. You take a deep breath and remind yourself, this moment, however uncertain, is part of the journey. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of the need to control and trusting yourself to handle whatever comes next. This shift in mindset can transform how you approach relationships. When you embrace change with grace, you signal strength not just to others, but to yourself. You show that you're adaptable, resilient, and unafraid of growth. This kind of energy is magnetic. It draws people in not because you're trying to hold on to them, but because you've created an environment where love can evolve freely. Here's a truth about relationships. They're not static. They're living, breathing entities that grow and shift over time. Sometimes they deepen, sometimes they fade, and sometimes they transform into something entirely new. The Stoic principle of detachment teaches us to appreciate what we have in the moment without clinging to it out of fear. This doesn't mean you care any less. It means you're willing to let things unfold naturally, even if the outcome isn't what you expected. Think about this. What if every change in your relationships was an opportunity to grow? Maybe a breakup teaches you to value yourself more. Maybe a shift in dynamics challenges you to communicate better. Or maybe the simple act of letting go allows you to make space for something even more fulfilling. Change, when approached with the right mindset, is never the end. It's the beginning of something new. But let's be honest. Embracing change isn't easy. It requires courage, patience, and a deep trust in yourself. It means facing uncertainty with open arms instead of a clenched fist. And most importantly, it means staying rooted in your values, even when the ground beneath you feels shaky. Here's a practical way to navigate change with grace. Focus on what you can control: your actions, your mindset, and your energy. If a relationship is shifting, ask yourself, how can I respond in a way that reflects my worth? Maybe it's having an honest conversation, or maybe it's stepping back to give things room to breathe. Whatever the situation, make choices that align with your values, not your fears. There's also a profound beauty in trusting the process. When you stop clinging to what was and start embracing what is, you create space for life to surprise you. Sometimes the very thing you feared losing wasn't meant for you, and by letting it go, you open the door to something even better. Think of it like this. When a tree loses its leaves in the fall, it's not dying. It's preparing for new growth. The same is true for us. Every season of change is an opportunity to shed what no longer serves us and step into a new version of ourselves. This perspective isn't just empowering, it's freeing. Let me ask you, what if you stopped fearing change and started seeing it as a gift? What if you trusted that, no matter what happens, you have the strength to adapt, grow, and thrive? Imagine how much lighter your heart would feel if you let go of the need to control and simply allowed life to unfold. When you embrace change with grace, you become unshakable. You show the world and yourself that you're not defined by the outcome of any single relationship. You're defined by how you show up, even in the face of uncertainty. And that kind of strength, it's unforgettable. There's so much power in this idea. You are not a victim of change, you are a participant in it. When you choose to meet change with courage and an open heart, you don't just survive, you flourish. And that's where true value lies. 7. The power of saying no. Think about the last time you said yes when you really wanted to say no. Was it because you were afraid of disappointing someone? Perhaps you worried they'd think less of you. Or worse, pull away entirely. It's a familiar trap, isn't it? We're taught to be accommodating, agreeable, and flexible, especially in relationships. But here's the truth. Every time you say yes to something that goes against your values or comfort, you're saying no to yourself. Saying no isn't just a word. It's a declaration of self-respect. It's a powerful way to show the world, and yourself, that your boundaries matter. Your feelings are valid, and your time is precious. Yet saying no can feel risky, especially when emotions are involved. What if he reacts poorly? What if he pulls away? These fears are real, but they pale in comparison to the strength you gain by standing firm in your truth. Imagine this. You're in a situation where your partner suggests something you're uncomfortable with. Maybe it's moving faster than you'd like or asking for something that conflicts with your values. The easy route might be to agree to avoid rocking the boat. But deep down, you know that saying yes would feel like betraying yourself. This is where the power of saying no becomes transformative. By calmly and confidently expressing your boundary, you're not just protecting yourself, you're setting a standard. You're saying, this is who I am, and I value myself enough to stay true to that. Here's the surprising part. When delivered with grace, a firm no often commands more respect than a hesitant yes ever could. Saying no isn't about being difficult or unkind. It's about clarity. It's about knowing what you stand for and refusing to compromise on it. This is where stoicism becomes your ally. The Stoics teach us that courage isn't the absence of fear, but the willingness to act in alignment with our principles despite it. When you say no, you're exercising that courage. You're choosing self-respect over the fear of conflict or rejection. Let's address the fear that often holds us back. What if my no drives him away? Here's the hard truth. If someone can't handle your boundaries, they're not the right person for you. A relationship built on mutual respect and alignment won't crumble because you stood up for yourself. On the contrary, a man who truly values you will see your no as a reflection of your strength and self-assurance. Here's an example. Imagine someone invites you into a situation that doesn't align with your comfort or principles. Instead of nervously explaining why you can't or making excuses, you respond with quiet confidence. That doesn't work for me. No anger, no drama, just a clear, firm boundary. This simplicity is powerful. It communicates that you know yourself and aren't afraid to honor your needs. Saying no also extends beyond relationships. It's a practice that touches every area of your life. It's about recognizing when something doesn't serve you and having the courage to walk away. Whether it's declining an invitation, stepping back from a draining friendship, or refusing to settle for less in your career, every no is a step toward reclaiming your energy and focus. But let's be real. Saying no isn't always easy. It might feel uncomfortable, especially at first. You might worry about being perceived as rude or uncooperative. But here's a question to consider. Who is more important, the people you're trying to please, or the version of yourself you're trying to honor? The answer is clear. Saying no is a radical act of self-love, and it becomes easier with practice. Here's a practical way to start. The next time you feel the urge to say yes out of guilt or fear, pause, take a deep breath and ask yourself, is this in alignment with my values? Will this bring me closer to the life I want to create? If the answer is no, give yourself permission to honor that. Remember, a no doesn't need to be harsh or defensive. It can be kind, calm, and firm. This principle ties closely to dark Stoic psychology because it challenges the dynamics of power and control in relationships. By saying no, you're subtly but powerfully asserting your independence. You're signaling that your worth isn't tied to someone else's approval or acceptance. And that's a deeply attractive quality. Let me leave you with this. Saying no isn't a rejection of others. It's an affirmation of yourself. It's about creating space in your life for what truly matters, for the people and opportunities that align with your values and elevate your journey. The next time you're faced with a choice, remember this: your no is your power. Use it wisely, and watch how it transforms not just your relationships, but your entire sense of self. 8. Carry yourself with pride. Picture this: you walk into a room, and heads turn, not because of what you're wearing, not because of what you're saying, but because of the way you carry yourself. There's something about your energy, your posture, the quiet confidence radiating from you that commands attention. You're not loud, you're not flashy, but you're unforgettable. What's your secret? You carry yourself with pride. Let's pause for a moment and reflect. What does it mean to carry yourself with pride? It's not about arrogance or perfection. It's about self-respect. It's about knowing who you are, embracing your flaws, and showing up in the world with authenticity and strength. When you carry yourself this way, people notice. And most importantly, he notices. Carrying yourself with pride begins with how you see yourself. Do you treat yourself with kindness? Or are you constantly critical? Do you honor your own time? Or do you let others waste it? The way you regard yourself sets the tone for how others treat you. If you constantly second-guess yourself, apologize excessively, or diminish your own worth, you send a silent message. I'm not confident in who I am. But when you hold your head high, take pride in your unique qualities, and move through life with self-assurance, you radiate a completely different energy. Let me share a simple but transformative principle. The way you present yourself is a reflection of how much you value yourself. This doesn't mean you need to dress expensively or adopt a certain style. It's about intentionality. Are you wearing something that makes you feel strong and beautiful? Are you walking with your shoulders back, standing tall, and owning your space? These small shifts can change not only how others perceive you, but also how you perceive yourself. Imagine this scenario. You're at a gathering, and you notice two women. One is hunched over, fidgeting with her phone, avoiding eye contact. The other is relaxed but poised, smiling gently, fully present in the moment. Which one seems more intriguing, more magnetic? The second, of course. And here's the secret. You can be that woman, not by pretending to be someone you're not, but by embracing and amplifying the confidence that's already within you. Stoicism offers us another layer of insight here. The Stoics believed in focusing on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. You may not be able to control every outcome in your relationships, but you can control how you present yourself and how you react to the world around you. Carrying yourself with pride means showing up as your best self, not for the sake of others, but because you deserve it. This principle also applies to your actions. Think about how you speak, how you listen, and how you handle challenges. Are your words thoughtful and intentional? Or are you constantly trying to please or impress? When you listen, are you truly present? Or are you distracted? And when things get tough, do you panic? Or do you remain calm and composed? The way you respond to life's moments speaks volumes about your inner confidence. Here's another truth. Carrying yourself with pride isn't about perfection. It's about resilience. Everyone has awkward moments, bad days, and insecurities. What matters is how you manage them. Do you dwell on mistakes and let them define you? Or do you learn, grow, and keep moving forward? When you show that you can handle life's ups and downs with grace, you become someone others admire, including him. Let me ask you this. How would your relationships change if you fully embraced your worth and carried yourself accordingly? What if, instead of bending over backward to impress someone, you focused on being your authentic, confident self? What if, instead of chasing approval, you let your actions and energy speak for themselves? This mindset shift is transformative not just for how others see you, but for how you see yourself. When you carry yourself with pride, you stop settling for less. You stop tolerating disrespect or half-hearted efforts. Instead, you attract people who recognize and value your worth because they see that you already value yourself. If this resonates with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Hit the like button and comment number 1 below to let me know you're ready to step into your power and carry yourself with pride. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more insights like this. Because the journey to becoming the best version of yourself is just beginning. There's so much more to uncover. And I'm here to guide you every step of the way. 9. Embrace change with grace. Let's talk about something that can feel both exhilarating and terrifying. Change in relationships. Change is inevitable. Dynamics shift. Emotions evolve, and circumstances challenge us in ways we never anticipated. It's easy to see change as a threat, something to resist or fight against. But what if, instead, you saw it as a gift, a chance to grow, adapt, and uncover strengths within you that perhaps you didn't even know existed? Here's the thing: when you resist change, you create tension, not just in your relationships, but within yourself. You cling to what was, out of fear of what might come. But when you embrace change with grace, you signal a deep trust in life's natural rhythm. This isn't about passivity or indifference. It's about learning to flow with what you can't control while focusing your energy on what you can. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you're in a relationship, and things start to shift. Perhaps the initial spark feels different, or external circumstances make it harder to connect. Your first instinct might be to hold on tighter, to demand answers, or to try and fix things immediately. But here's a truth rooted in Stoicism. You can't control someone else's emotions or actions, but you can control how you respond to them. Instead of panicking, take a step back and ask yourself, what is this change teaching me? Maybe it's asking you to be more patient, to communicate more clearly, or even to reevaluate whether the relationship aligns with your values. By shifting your perspective, you transform change from an enemy into a powerful teacher. This isn't just about reacting to external changes. It's also about recognizing and embracing the changes within yourself. As you grow and evolve, your needs, desires, and boundaries may shift. And that's not only okay, it's beautiful. It's a sign that you're alive, learning, and stepping into a fuller version of yourself. When you honor these internal changes, you show others that you're not afraid to evolve. And that kind of self-awareness, it's magnetic. But let's be honest, embracing change isn't easy. It requires letting go of the need for certainty, and that can feel uncomfortable. You might wonder, what if I lose him? What if this change leads to the end? These fears are valid, but they shouldn't hold you back. Remember this: holding on to something that no longer serves you will only block you from receiving what's truly meant for you. Sometimes, letting go is the most courageous and loving thing you can do, for yourself and for the other person. Here's a practical exercise to help you embrace change with grace. Whenever you feel resistance, pause and breathe. Ask yourself, what am I afraid of losing? Is this fear rooted in reality, or is it a story I'm telling myself? Then, shift your focus to what you can control: your thoughts, your actions, and your energy. By grounding yourself in the present moment, you release the grip of fear and open yourself to possibility. Dark Stoic psychology offers another layer to this principle. It teaches us to approach change with curiosity rather than dread. What new opportunities might this shift bring? What strengths might it reveal within you? By framing change as an ally rather than an adversary, you empower yourself to navigate even the most challenging transitions with poise. Let me give you an example. Imagine a situation where someone pulls away. The natural reaction might be to chase, to cling, to demand answers. But what if, instead, you leaned into the space they created? What if you used that time to reconnect with yourself, to explore your passions, to grow in ways that fulfill you? Not only does this show immense inner strength, but it also shifts the dynamic. Instead of trying to control the outcome, you focus on becoming your best self. And in doing so, you naturally draw respect and admiration. At its core, embracing change with grace is about trust, trusting yourself, trusting the process, and trusting that what's meant for you will find its way to you. This doesn't mean you sit back and wait for life to happen. It means you show up fully, take inspired action, and remain open to the unexpected paths that life might take. So let me ask you, how would your relationships look if you stopped fearing change and started seeing it as an opportunity? How much lighter would you feel if you let go of the need to control and instead embraced the freedom of simply being? When you embrace change with grace, you show a kind of strength that's rare and deeply compelling. You demonstrate that you're not tied to any single outcome and that your worth isn't dependent on the stability of any relationship. This mindset doesn't just make you resilient, it makes you magnetic. Because nothing is more attractive than a woman who can face life's uncertainties with an open heart and an unshakable sense of self. The journey of becoming this kind of woman is ongoing, and it's one of the most rewarding paths you'll ever walk. Stay with me. There's one more silent action left to uncover, and it's one that will tie everything together in the most profound way. 10. Develop healthy skepticism. Let me ask you this. How often do you take someone's words at face value? It's tempting, isn't it? Especially when you're caught up in the excitement of a new connection or relationship. Sweet words and promises can feel intoxicating. But here's the truth. Words are easy to say, but actions reveal the truth. Developing a healthy sense of skepticism isn't about being jaded or distrusting. It's about staying grounded in reality and protecting your emotional well-being. Healthy skepticism doesn't mean you doubt everyone's intentions. Instead, it means taking a step back and observing before you fully invest your heart. This principle, deeply tied to Stoicism, encourages you to stay balanced and logical, even in the face of intense emotions. It's about asking yourself, does this feel real? Or is it just what I want to believe? Think about it. How many times have you been swept away by someone who says all the right things, only to realize later that their actions don't align? Maybe they promised consistency but only showed up sporadically. Maybe they painted a picture of a future with you, but never made tangible steps toward it. These moments can be heartbreaking, but they're also opportunities to learn the art of discernment. Here's the power of healthy skepticism. It allows you to slow down and truly get to know someone. Instead of rushing into a connection based on words or surface-level gestures, you give yourself the time to see if their actions align with their claims. This doesn't just protect your heart. It also ensures that you're building a relationship on a foundation of authenticity and trust. Let's explore how this might look in practice. Imagine you've met someone who seems almost too good to be true. They're charming, attentive, and quick to talk about their feelings for you. It's easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of excitement. But instead of diving in headfirst, you pause. You observe. Do they follow through on their promises? Are they consistent in their behavior? Do their actions match the picture they've painted with their words? By taking this approach, you create space for the truth to reveal itself. If they're genuine, their actions will reflect their intentions, and your trust in them will grow naturally. If they're not, their inconsistency will become apparent, and you'll save yourself the pain of investing in something that wasn't real. But this isn't just about protecting yourself from deceit. It's also about deepening your understanding of the people around you. Healthy skepticism invites you to ask thoughtful questions, to listen actively, and to approach connections with curiosity rather than assumption. This aligns with the principles of dark Stoic psychology, which emphasize the importance of staying present, observing dynamics, and making decisions based on evidence rather than emotion. There's another layer to this principle: applying skepticism to your own emotions. Sometimes, we're so eager for something to work out that we convince ourselves to overlook red flags or settle for less than we deserve. By practicing self-awareness and questioning your own reactions, you can ensure that you're making choices from a place of confidence and clarity, not fear or desperation. This might sound like a lot of effort, but here's the beauty of it. Skepticism doesn't make you colder or less open. It makes you wiser. It empowers you to approach relationships with balance, ensuring that you're neither too guarded nor too trusting. And when you strike this balance, you create space for connections that are truly meaningful and fulfilling. Here's a simple exercise to start cultivating healthy skepticism. The next time someone makes a promise or declaration, resist the urge to immediately take it to heart. Instead, make a mental note to observe. Give it time. See if their actions follow through. This isn't about testing them. It's about giving yourself the gift of clarity. Let me also address a common concern. Doesn't skepticism make you seem untrusting? The answer lies in how you approach it. Healthy skepticism isn't about accusing or doubting. It's about quietly observing. It's about holding space for someone to show you who they are, rather than rushing to conclusions. This subtle difference makes all the difference in how it's perceived. Ultimately, developing healthy skepticism is about honoring your worth. It's about saying, I'm willing to give you a chance, but I won't abandon my standards or ignore my instincts to make this work. This kind of mindset is deeply attractive because it shows that you value yourself enough to prioritize emotional safety and authenticity. So let me leave you with this. What would your relationships look like if you approached them with both an open heart and a discerning mind? How much stronger would your connections be if they were built on a foundation of trust, not illusion? This is the power of healthy skepticism. Protects you, empowers you, and ensures that you're building relationships that truly honor your worth. And when you embrace this principle, you don't just become someone he values, you become someone he respects, admires, and is inspired to rise for. You've made it this far. And that speaks volumes about your commitment to becoming the best version of yourself, not just for the sake of attracting someone else, but for your own growth, confidence, and fulfillment. Let's leave with one final question. What would your life look like if you truly embodied these principles? Imagine walking through the world with unshakable confidence, forming connections that honor your worth, and letting go of anything that doesn't serve your highest good. That's the life these actions can create. A life of dignity, depth, and lasting value. If this resonated with you, take a moment to show your commitment. Hit the like button, comment, "I value myself" below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Share this video with someone who might need a reminder of their own worth, because growth is even more powerful when we do it together. Thank you for spending this time with me. Remember, you have everything you need within you to create the life and love you deserve. Until we meet again, keep growing, keep thriving, and most importantly, keep valuing yourself. You are worthy of all the love and respect this world has to offer. Don't ever forget it. See you in the next video.